Sinister stories.
Stories about Thanksgiving. It was a crisp Thanksgiving evening, and Victor had come home from college in Georgia to his uncle's place. As he stepped into the house, chaos greeted him. Women bustling in the kitchen, kids running amok, and the general hustle and bustle that accompanies a holiday gathering. Seeking solace from the commotion, Victor settled into his cousin's room, idly scrolling through his phone. Hours slipped away unnoticed, and as he looked up, an unusual silence pervaded the house. The chatter and laughter had vanished, leaving an uncanny stillness. Puzzled by the sudden calm, Victor ventured out. His footsteps echoed through the empty halls until he encountered his aunt. He inquired about dinner, and she gestured silently toward the dining table. A wave of unease crept over him as he noticed everyone already seated, motionless and silent. Attempting to dispel the eerie quiet, Victor joked, "Wow, it's eerily quiet here. Who died?" His attempt at humor was met with a chilling silence. No one reacted, no chuckles, not even a smirk. Uneasy, Victor took his seat, trying to ignore the discomfort. As his aunt started serving food, an unexpected question shattered the tension. Without turning her head, she asked, "What are you doing with your life?" Victor looked up, peering around the room. "Are you talking to me?" His aunt repeated the question. "What are you doing with your life?" Victor stumbled over his words, explaining he was still in college. Before he could finish, his uncle echoed the same question, and then his older cousin chimed in, creating an unsettling chorus of inquiry. "What are you doing with your life?" Attempting to assert his aspirations, Victor mentioned his passion for writing. But before he could elaborate, the interrogation continued, each family member repeating the same haunting question in an eerie symphony of concern. "What are you doing with your life?" Confused and feeling exposed under their unwavering gazes, Victor felt a surge of discomfort. The moment was interrupted by his little cousins in unison, questioning, "Are you a loser?" Then, as though an unseen force orchestrated their movements, the entire family turned toward Victor with wide grins, frozen in place. His heart raced, realizing they hadn't physically shifted. Their faces just aligned in an unnerving unity. With a sense of dread creeping over him, Victor tried to defend himself, denying being a loser and reiterating his aspirations. But their relentless repetition of the same question, each time more intense, suffocated him. "What are you doing with your life?" In a state of panic, Victor stood, hoping to escape the haunting atmosphere. His grandfather's chilling response, "Then you must be wasting it," intensified the surreal dread. Then his grandmother replied, "Are you wasting it?" Just as he felt overwhelmed, his aunt returned with the turkey, her grin mirroring the unsettling smiles of the others. Her cryptic remark about not needing something if wasted sent shivers down Victor's spine. Fear gripped him, contemplating if this was a nightmare. Closing his eyes in desperation, he prayed for an escape. But as he opened them, his family encircled him, their voices echoing with the repeated question, "Are you wasting it?" Jeremy, nestled in his dorm room, intended to spend Thanksgiving catching up on work. But Hannah's last-minute call changed everything. She'd managed a sudden ride home and insisted he join her family for the holiday. Though apprehensive about meeting her entire family, Jeremy couldn't decline Hannah's invite, knowing his girlfriend wanted his presence. The drive to Hannah's family address seemed straightforward, yet Jeremy found himself navigating identical houses, the GPS proving little help in the sea of uniformity. Hannah called, apologizing for their delay, instructing Jeremy to wait inside due to the cold. So after that, Jeremy's phone died, and he left the charging cable at home. Spotting an address that matched, Jeremy approached the door, rapping tentatively. It swung open to reveal a woman, her smile unnervingly wide, clutching two hefty knives. Uncomfortably, Jeremy introduced himself, attributing his tardiness to getting lost. The woman's smile remained fixed as she welcomed him inside. Jeremy inquired about Hannah, relieved to hear she was en route. However, an eerie atmosphere gripped him as he stepped into the silent dining room, met with frozen, smiling faces. He was quickly invited to sit down. Jeremy found it odd that nobody has introduced themselves, and no one stood up when he entered. In fact, no one has moved or spoke at all. Discreetly, he plugged his phone in to charge with the outlet existing charging cable by him, attempting to dissolve the tension. He inquired about Hannah's childhood and how excited were they that she was coming home. There was still silence in the air, everyone still facing forward. Then, suddenly, questions bombarded Jeremy, each one cutting off his responses until an elderly woman's inquiry silenced the room. The elderly later replied, "What are you going to do with your life?" Suddenly, the entire family fixated on Jeremy, their grins taking on an unsettling intensity. Feeling unnerved by the unwelcome scrutiny, Jeremy fumbled for an explanation when his phone clamored with missed calls and messages from Hannah. Messages indicating her presence at her own house, and where he was, she thought he would arrive before her. As he froze with a fear, the most recent text message read, "Where are you?" For at this moment, Jeremy did not know where he was. Panic surged as Jeremy lifted his gaze to find the family surrounding him. A voice from the shadows questioned Hannah's identity. "Who is Hannah?" sending a chill down Jeremy's spine. Attempting to flee, he was forcefully restrained by a burly man who had initially welcomed him. In a desperate escape, Jeremy dashed upstairs, encountering a door that seemed to open of its own accord. As he sprinted, another individual joined him, guiding Jeremy to hide in the attic. In a trembling voice, Jeremy questioned the stranger, seeking answers amid the chaos. The other voice identified itself as Victor, and "They are my family," leaving Jeremy with a trail of unanswered questions lingering in the air. "What do you mean, your family?" Jeremy's voice trembled as he confronted Victor, seeking an explanation amid the eerie situation. Victor, equally bewildered, recounted how everything was normal until this evening when he arrived home for dinner. Something had drastically changed with his family's behavior. The silence was shattered by 3 urgent knocks at the door, growing louder with each rap. The boys exchanged silent, anxious glances, their hearts pounding in unison. The banging intensified, accompanied by voices, escalating the tension in the room. Victor, recalling dropping his phone during his escape, Jeremy mentioned leaving it downstairs while charging. Jeremy was very confused. He asked Victor about what address he is at, after Victor relaying the address to Jeremy. The realization dawned that he was at the wrong address. Jeremy wondered where exactly was he. He queried Victor again about what was the exact address, learning he was at 2 Manor Court instead of 2 Manor Street where Hannah lived, a mere corner away as stated by Victor. Just as they contemplated a plan to reach Hannah's house, the knocking ceased, replaced by fading footsteps. Time passed, and the doorbell chimed, signaling a potential exit for the boys. They ventured downstairs, hoping this could be their ticket out. As the door opened downstairs, a young woman introduced herself as Hannah, the neighbor, having received a message from her boyfriend about the mix-up. Hannah was warmly invited in, unaware of the turmoil unfolding upstairs. With a creeping sense of dread, the boys cautiously approached the door, but Hannah's scream pierced the air before they could react. Jeremy recognized her voice, prompting a swift dash downstairs, where they were met with the unsettling sight of Hannah amidst the eerie, motionless family. Once again, the family protested, "What are you going to do with your life?" In a desperate bid, Jeremy declared, "I will live," seizing the moment to charge at the family alongside Victor, freeing Hannah. They bolted for the door, surprised to find it unlocked, and fled to Hannah's house. Confusion reigned as they attempted to make sense of the harrowing events. Victor was as perplexed as Jeremy and Hannah, unable to fathom his family's inexplicable transformation. The next day, Victor returned to retrieve his belongings. His aunt greeted him cheerfully, seemingly oblivious to the previous night's events. A cloud of amnesia hung over the household as no one recalled anything, attributing it to the Thanksgiving celebration. Amid the laughter and confusion, Victor bid farewell, heading back to school while Jeremy remained with Hannah, attempting to shake off the eerie encounter. Victor was heading back to school. When Victor finally arrived on campus, he got a text from his aunt asking if he made back okay. Victor replied, "Yes, just got here." "Okay then." Then those 3 dots appeared as if someone was going to text. Victor waited and waited, but no text came in from his aunt. Victor's unease persisted as he finally received that delayed text from his aunt, bearing an eerie message. That simply read, "What are you doing with your life?"